previous person spoke, right? Okay. So whoever wants to go first can just unmute and then go. Uh, so first one always has an advantage. So please go ahead, guys.
Can I speak?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead and speak.
Yeah. Um, I don't think like one second. I don't think there is a fully judicial independence in India. Like every decision given by Supreme Court or High Court is a binding to its subordinate courts. They have to follow each and every point which is given by the decision of Supreme Court. And Parliament has also the power to amend any part of Indian Constitution. Like in 42nd Amendment, they amend the Constitution and curtailed power of judiciary. They uh, they give Parliament full power to amend any part of Constitution without judicial review. So judiciary is not fully independent, I think.
Yes, my view is that judicial independence is not a myth because there are cases that prove that with set precedents. For example, Section 377 was struck down, and then in Sabrimala case, uh, women were allowed entry to temple which they previously were not. These are examples that the judiciary is independent from uh, of external powers and has the right to decide on cases. And yes, moreover, judiciary is an ever evolving entity. So it's important to note that our country started as a British colony, and then it has the influence of the British government system, and that we are moving forward from that system. Our system is similar to that of the British, is a parliamentary system, but even then in the TPSP in constitution, the rights and powers of each judiciary, executive and legislative are clearly defined. Further, unlike the British system, our system, the British system has the Queen, who is the head of executive but has independence to interfere in legislature and judicial matters and can remove judges. But that's not the case in Indian system. Indian courts have their own power, and this system of appeals is also clearly established. There are first appeals and second appeals, and appeals can only be given when there is a substantial question of law in certain cases. Um, uh, that is my that's my view. So I would like to state that judicial independence is not a myth. It is ever evolving process, and that our parliament and our judicial systems, courts and judges have powers which are clearly defined and are working in an interrelated system of executive, legislative, and judiciary, and making rules and precedents that establish new boundaries and establish new criterias an, in a public democratic country. Thank you.
May I? Yeah. So so good morning, one and all. Since we are meeting for the first time, I am saying and what intentionally saying good morning because we are meeting for the first time. So I am Aryan Mohanty. I am one of your co-interns as well, and second year law student at Symbiosis Law School, Nagpur. And it's a very interesting topic to have a discussion on that about the judicial independence. So, in my opinion, it's not a myth, and as one of my fellow co-intern Arthi said that it's a ever evolving process, which I completely agree with that. because in recent decades, in recent two 2 to 3 decades, the courts have been, especially Supreme Court, had given a landmark and path-breaking judgments. For example, we can say that in Navteej Singh Johar case, where Section 377 of IPC was declared null and void because it violates the Constitution of India, which says that right to equality. And in 2017, in a for, in 2017, in the Shairavano case, where Supreme Court has declared that talak e biddat, or we can say in normal terms, triple talak was declared null and void. After that, is central government uh, what and it directed the central government to enact laws regarding that. And in 2019, after several attempts since 2017, the government passed the Muslim Women Protection of Marriage Act. I don't know the real name, means I am forgetting that. So, uh, so and also uh, in but uh, in several times the question what the transparency of the courts, especially judges, has been questioned. For example, in 2018, four senior most sir. Okay, so I will just conclude within 2 to 3 seconds. So in 2018, the four of the senior most judges had raised a voice against the then Chief Justice Deepak Kumar Mishra. So, in my opinion, to conclude with, judicial independence in India is not a myth, as I said, as I agree with my co-intern Arthi that it's an ever-evolving process, and which will go on. Thank you. Sir, with due respect, I want to switch off my camera for 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, I would like to speak. Uh, I would also agree that there is judicial independence in India. Like we have seen abuse of power. Like through abuse of power, we can observe that because of judicial independence, many have been abusing the power. Like in the first time, it was also observed that there was a case of sexual harassment of an acting CGI, and many like if there is a check and balance system also, the executive sees the salaries and all the pay of the judges. I know that the judges don't have the right in the making of like in the implementation, but there is something like because of the independence, a lot of injustice is there. The trust of the people on the justice due to cases upon the acting judges have been destroyed. Like many of the CGIs, like Ranjan Gogoi was also a part of the Rajya Sabha after his retirement. So like many like they have a secure post, and because of the security and the freedom they have been abusing the powers. I'm not saying that Ranjanan Gogoi has been abusing the power mainly, but there has been cases which assume that if we give too much of freedom, like independence to the judiciary, there can be abuse, and there we have been seeing the abuse. So it's not a myth.
Okay. Can I go ahead? All right. Um, I would like to start by saying that judicial independence in Nigeria is a myth. And I would say this because I feel like it's in line because of checks and balances. They have kind of removed judicial independence. And this is because um if you check the removal processes for judges, justices, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, it's done by the president, although supported by two-third majority of the Senate. So where does the judiciary. If a president can remove the judiciary, a judicial head, a justice, a chief judge, so where is the judicial independence? Because he can be removed by an executive. So where is the judicial independence? Then, and looking at the definition of judicial independence, judicial independence is the freedom of a judge, a justice, to hear a matter without pressure from any other arm of government. But if you look at it here, Section 6 of the Nigerian Constitution, it gives the judiciary jurisdiction to hear matters, all matters. But if you look at Chapter 2 of the Constitution, it abrogates that power from the judiciary to hear certain matters. That's matters matters concerning like the welfare of people. So if a judge cannot hear a matter that has to do with the financial welfare or the political welfare of its citizens, but can hear matters of taxes when what's the word now, that aid the government, but cannot hear matters that affect citizens. So where is the judicial independence? There's no judicial independence because the executive, they're protected. The legislatures, they're protected because it's the legislatures that make the law, and they make the law in such a way to favor them and to remove from the judiciary independence. And also, okay, uh, okay. Also, I okay. In 2019, the president of Nigeria, he removed a chief justice of Nigeria unilaterally without influence from the National Judicial Council, and there is a National Judicial Council, but he removed the chief justice unilaterally, and nothing was done to him. There was no judge could hear that matter. No judge. The suits that were instituted against him, he went to, nobody heard the matter. He just like died there, and another justice was put in his place, and that is the current justice. So where is the judicial independence?
Okay, so next, whoever wants to go, can you guys raise your hands or unmute? Hello, can you guys raise your hands or unmute?
Yeah,
Athira, yeah,
can I-
Bhargavi, go ahead. No,
Hi, this is
you'll
Bhargavi.
have to keep your this thing, video
But due
on.
to some inconvenient, I could not on my camera now. Is it okay for?
It is very unfair for others also. It's a kind of a competition. So please try to keep. You take your time. If you want, you can take 10 more minutes until everyone finishes, and then keep it on, and then speak.
That's okay.
Okay, take your time. And then next, anyone else who wants to go on? Exjot Kaur, would you like to go?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
but I'm not well prepared.
No, no issues. You can go ahead with whatever you have prepared or whatever you know generally.
Okay, sir. Sir, according to my opinion, judicial independence has become a myth. I'll go with that. And I have seen that judiciary has been a third organ or third organ to regulate the country, but it's only it is only independent as in terms of writing or as per the constitution only. I know the appointments and all the procedures have been taking time, but in many cases it has been seen that it is highly influenced by religious things, politics, or government influences also. As I would like to mention a case in 2020, there was a case of migrant workers which was filed to bring back the workers from the foreign nations. But the court has given preference to the Goswami case, where the FIR was launched, and the case hearing was on the next day. But the migrant workers case took place like 6 months, and they struggled a lot. And here it also states that judicial independence is now at stake. And many CGIs are now working in political institutions and parliament, and that's all. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Thank you. Uh, Anyone else who wants to go next, or is everyone done? Anyone else who wants to go? Please, Vicky Kumar or Atira. Okay, go ahead.
Uh, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. So yes, I believe that judicial independence is clearly in a path to becoming a myth because judicial independence serves as a safeguard for the rights and privileges. And in the recent past, we can see that the then Chief Justice of India. Sir Deepak Mishra has proved that he is incapable of standing up to the executives, which has sent a message to the judiciary to that or being superseded like a chief justice like KM Joseph, that is from Uttarakhand. The Supreme Court had surrendered to the Narendra Modi government in deciding who will join the Supreme Court benches, where like almost 100 lawyers were forced to write a letter of demanding that the Uttarakhand chief minister was sworn in as a Supreme Court justice. So they did this because the then Chief Justice of India, Deepak Mishra sir, declared that there was nothing wrong. I repeat, he said that there was nothing wrong for the executives to veto the evaluation of a judge approved by the India's senior most judges. So the CGI should have stood up for an executive chief justice like KM Joseph, who was only the only fault he did was that he embarrassed the Narendra Modi government by striking down the president's rule in Uttarakhand. So, despite the apex court striking down the National Judicial Appointment Committee Act 2015 and the 99th constitutional amendment, the Narendra Modi government, which has got an absolute majority in the Lok Sabha, has declared that it has a final word on who will become a Supreme Court judge. So, hence giving the ruling party a quid pro quo. So, all the rest is an academic debate, but I believe that judicial independence is becoming a myth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wants to go next? Anyone? Hello, guys. Is everyone done? Gayatri, you are done, right?
Can I, hello?
Yeah.
Can I go?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I'll say that the judicial independence is like a myth because its main objective is to deliver a free and neutral decisions without any influence. So when we see this case as SP Gupta versus Union of India, and even in Keshananda Bharati versus State of Kerala also, it was said that it is only for the purpose of like it is only to serve for the people. So I'll say that in the Indian judiciary is a myth. Judicial independence is a myth. That's it.
Thank you. Is anyone left or is everyone done with this? Okay, Gayatri, you can go.
Sorry, I was not prepared. I was not well prepared.
No issues.
First thing, Indian judiciary is my first independence. Judicially independence is from the other branches of the government. Judicially independence serves as a safeguard for the rights and privileges provided by a limited constitution. In the case of SP Gupta versus Union of India, the court held that the judges should be a fearless and should be uphold the principle of rule of law, and it is a basic concept of the independence of judiciary. I was so nervous.
Take your time, so and then you can take your time and then speak.
So with this, I will conclude this.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think everyone, all 11 of you are done, right? Or are you? Is someone else left out? Yeah. Vicky Kumar, are you here on the meet?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Can you turn on your camera and go ahead and speak?
yeah, sure. So, according to my point of view, it's like judicial independence is a myth because every judge has their own way of pronouncing the judgment. So, according to me, if I side with the legal realism jurisprudence, they have clearly mentioned that every judge is influenced by social or economic factors, or they should have the knowledge of history. But it being a human being, every judge cannot have all the knowledge that he requires to pronounce the judgment. So he is influenced by various external as well as internal factors. So uh, I'll conclude it by saying that judicial independence is a myth. So it's I also agree with various speakers who have said that it's a dynamic and evolving process, but I think it's a myth because it is influenced by various factors.
Okay. Thank you. I think all of you are done, right? So I'll give you 2-3 minutes to review your notes, whatever you have written, and then frame questions so that you can ask that particular person during your group discussion. You can take your time, 2-3 minutes, and then review your questions. While asking questions, also you can keep your camera on while answering. So it's a kind of a respect. Please keep your camera on, right? So you guys have 3 minutes, review your notes, frame questions, and then you can discuss it with your peers. You can have a group discussion among yourself, agree, disagree. If you have forgotten some point, you mention that point to that person, or if someone questions you on it, you can maybe extend on your speech. These are like some tips. Like when someone questions you, you may you can extend the things that you wanted to tell, including that in your answer. So you can do that, finish your speech or something, right? So have take 2-3 minutes, and then you guys can come up with questions. Okay, so guys, you can start with your. You can discuss and disagree with your peers what they have told, and you can question them. And also, please be respectful. And also, yeah. So you guys can go ahead and start with your discussion.
Sir, can I means
No, you don't
can
need
we,
to speak to me. You guys, all of you guys, unmute and have a group discussion. It's a group discussion. So as a group, you
sir,
decide and then speak about it. Yeah.
sir,
Yeah.
instead of asking question, can I just agree or disagree what my co-intern said?
Yeah, that's what you have to do. It's a group discussion, right? So you have to speak
Okay,
to them, disagree with them, and then they'll justify why
okay,
they think you're wrong, or you disagree with them. It's all about disagreement, and then they'll
wow,
justify
okay.
why they think it is. So you don't
Yeah,
need
I
to
have
speak.
lot of agreements and disagreements. So,
Sure, go ahead, and you can name them, and then they'll ask, or
yeah.
you guys have a just
First
group
of
discussion, right?
Okay,
As a group.
first of all, I would like to say that who the first speaker is. I guess the Richa was the first speaker. He said about, I don't remember the point. I forgot to note that, but means I would say that I am completely disagree with what Richa said about the subordinate courts, because subordinate court has also given, means in if we see in the recent case of Gyanvapi survey case, the uh, what we can say, the subordinate court of Varanasi has taken the due cognizance of this case, and means analyzing the what depth of the case, the depth of the case and the social fabric. They decided to what we can say, decided to survey the mosque, which was allegedly built on a uh, temple. I will not express my views on what we can say, but I would like to say what I've read in newspapers and articles. What are my views are personal. I don't want to elaborate that. And second, I will say that one of my what capable co-interns, Athira, uh, I will not completely disagree with what Athira said. So it's as I said, it's an the judicial independence is an ever evolving process, but in evolution there is an halt. So, as Athira said about the current government, it happened till the from the starting of the independence. Means the recent means we can say the highlight. I can highlight that in ADM Jabalpur case, one of the bench members, Justice A.N. Roy, has given in favor of the what government, but the Justice H.R. Khanna, who was supposed to be the Chief Justice of India, he gave against he gave the verdict against the government. So Justice N. Roy was superseded Justice H.R. Khanna to become the Chief Justice of India. So it is happening since independence. It's not a new phenomenon. So I agree with what Athira said, that the executive had an undue influence, but means I thought, in my opinion, please don't be offended, please. So, in my opinion, what Athira said is a little bit politically driven, because if she said about the current government's state means current government, what current government did, which absolutely I agree with that, but you should we should what we should look back in the history to see what the past government has did. So that's all. Thank you. And
Mr.
no offense,
Aryan,
please. No offense, please. Okay.
Mr. Aryan, do
Yeah.
you believe that the judiciary is perfect as it is right now?
No, no, no. Even see, if we consider judiciary as a person, I am not perfect, or you are not perfect. I am saying that I am perfectly imperfect. So judiciary is not as perfect as you think, and the definition of perfect, in my opinion, differs from person to person. What my way of defining perfect, the word perfect is, it's not complete. We will not agree with that. So the thing is that thing is that Arthi, that judiciary is imperfect, and as you said, which I completely agree, it's an ever evolving process, and in evolution there is an halt. Okay, in if we see the evolution of human beings, there's a means for a, for convert to becoming the what today are Homo sapiens. It
But
took a
the
lot
thing
of
is,
years.
But the
Lot
thing
of
is, it is true that judiciary has some kind of influence from the executive and the legislature. Our
obvious.
system is a parliamentary system, so there is an influence from all sides. It is an interrelated government as such. So you disagreeing completely with Athira that the political part influence is uh, it's politically influenced and driven. I think I think that can be true since political
No, no,
parties
no.
are
What you
also
said,
part
what
of
you said. Please
executive
repeat.
system.
Please repeat. What you said. What you said.
Yes, I did say that it's a ever evolving process,
No,
but
no, no,
I
no, no,
don't
no.
think
You
it's
said that what I disagree with, completely disagree. That what?
no. I said that you okay.
Please.
Athira, I have a question for you. You said that Mr. Deepak Mishra was unable to stand up to the executive. Can you elaborate on that or give an instance on the same?
Okay, yeah. Aryan, no offense taken. Don't
Thank
worry
you.
about that. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
Aarti,
Thank you.
you're welcome. But
Okay.
what I meant by Mr. Deepak Mishra not taking a stand is that he he addressed uh, people saying that the executive's decision was not wrong in appointing India's senior most judges, which the decision was based on a parliamentary decision and not a decision that the judiciary held. So that's what I said, and then the yeah, that is basically what I meant. Also, adding to my previous point and Aryan's thoughts, I know that judicial independence or our judicial system is a very dynamic and evolving system. But leaving that aside and
I can't
taking a
hear
view
you.
Athira,
as
I can't hear
constant,
you.
do we see?
I can't hear you.
I know that the process is evolving and everything, but to my viewpoint, judicial independence is kind of a utopian topic, and that perfect judicial independence and its implementation in India is nowhere to be seen in the future.
Uh,
I would like to ask something. Like Aryan said that evolution has a halt. I would disagree on that part. Evolution can never have a halt. Like okay, Homo sapiens did not evolve like anything, but there are many divisions nowadays coming on. There were only boys and girls first. Now evolution came in the form of many Homo species like gays, lesbians. Evolution can never stop. I would disagree on that part. I would agree with my co-intern that she said that partially, like in judicial independence is becoming a myth. But I would disagree with people who are already saying that judicial independency is a myth. Like if there is power, there will be injustice. If you have complete power, like without giving complete power, there was a system of check and balances to executive and all. But executive also started misusing it. So I won't say that judiciary is enjoying total freedom and all, but we can say that it's completely a myth right now.
Ms. Falguni, what kind of check and balance system are you suggesting that we should implement?
Like there should be a power check. Like many a times we have seen that judicial, like if we see in a regular life, a day-to-day life, we have seen that if, even if a judge's car goes, like people don't question it. We seen that oh, we have a judge in our family. We are in absolute power. We need to restrain those powers. We should not give them like absolute power in everything. In a court, they should be given freedom, but there should be check and balances outside the court also.
Okay, can you give me any instance where there has been an abuse of power?
Abuse of power. We can see in the judgments.
For
Many
example,
times, many a times there is a like I don't remember any case particularly, but I can give through an example.
yeah, sure.
Like many times we see that there is abuse of power through which judges are forced to give that decision, which they don't think of just and fair. But many a times they give in favor of someone they know.
But that's your opinion. You don't have any case or illustration to support it.
Actually, I don't remember the name. In this much, I couldn't remember.
Okay.
I would try to help. search and all.
Okay.
But through example, I can tell this.
Is Emanuela here?
Yes, can you repeat?
I'm saying it's Emanuela here.
I can hear you.
Hello. I think it's morning there.
It's no, it's afternoon.
Good afternoon then to you.
Good afternoon.
Uh, you said that the president, sorry, you said the president has power to remove judges in your judiciary. Can you give
Yes.
us any kind of instance or cases, or some kind of examples or news articles that can support your point?
I already gave an instance. I said um in 2019, the current president, the incumbent president, he removed the Chief Justice of Nigeria. His name is Justice Walter Onogen, and he put another Chief Justice, what's his name? Um Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad. You can
Okay,
check it.
okay, cool. But don't you think it forms as a check and power, as Falguni suggested, for too much power to the judges and courts? A president having power to remove and appoint judges can.
It's not. It's the issue is not that there is a constitutional process. There is a process in doing so. You can't just arbitrarily. You can't just by yourself remove a judge or a chief justice. It's not. That's not the way it's done. But in like in theory, it's meant to be that the president, with um support from the Senate as well as the National Judicial Council, will now be able to remove a chief justice. But in the way it is practically, that's not how it's done. A president can just on his own, without support from the Senate, without support from the National Judicial Council, just remove the um justice. And it has been happening. And people, even when people talk about it, nothing is done. It just happens and everybody just leaves it that way.
So you're saying it's an abuse of power.
Yes, because
Thank you.
if the constitution provides a way for something to be done, then it is meant to be done according to the constitution. But if it's not done according to this constitution, then what kind of world are we living in? It's just anarchy. And what are we saying? Just like, what's the point of studying law? Like,
That's a beautiful point.
No, no, I guess I expressed my mistake. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a little bit. So, Arthi, you have said that instances of abuse of power, the use of the president's rule or the state emergency provisions in the Constitution of India. Many times we have seen that not only in this government, there are only two instances. One is Arunachal Pradesh and another is Uttarakhand, and both happened in 2016 due to due to the revolt in the ruling party. Some MLAs have revolted against the ruling party. So I don't want to go in too deep into that. So as instances, we can say that the abuse of president, the provision of president's rule or the president's ordinance as well. You can see that the three farm laws, without any discussion, without any deliberation further. I will add further because in 2019 there was a high-powered committee of chief ministers under the stewardship of then Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. The Niti Aayog had formed a high-powered committee to uh, to implement Swaminathan Commission's reports and as well as to give input on the agricultural reforms. And there, it has a proposed draft have been prepared of the three farm laws. So it was in 2019. So and in 2021, I guess, the ordinance came for these laws. There was 1 year into whole 2020. They can discuss. Sorry, saying extremely sorry. They can discuss with the farm leaders or from um, agriculturists about how we can implement it. Okay, without any further discussion, they passed the laws, and which heavy backlash happened, and lastly the central government had taken back. Okay, so this is an abuse of power, and as Falguni said, the Supreme Court is there to check and balance this abuse of power. Okay, so in 2016 itself,
But if
in
it
both
was
of
abuse of
wait a minute,
power,
wait a minute. In 2016 itself, what I said, in two cases, Arunachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, both these cases, the as Athira said, it has been dismissed by the Supreme Court. Disagree with the government that it has been what the government of implementing president's rule in Uttarakhand as well as in Arunachal Pradesh was null and void. And after, and I'm forgetting something. I will tell you later on. Okay, that's all for now.
I really like how you supplement your arguments with cases and points from instances from the past. Uh, okay, the thing is, if it was really an abuse of power, they would not have taken back the law, as you said, right? But they did take back because of the protests and from what you said.
See, thing is that apart from seeing the protests, we can see in the president's ordinance thing. This also is, you can say that it's an abuse of power. But thing is that it's also a necessity. We can say it's a type of delegated legislation. In administrative law, it's a delegated legislation. The president's ordinance is a delegated legislation, which the Supreme Court has said it's a necessary evil. It's evil, but necessary. So, thing is that it's a necessity, and and president's rule also is a necessary because we can say, for example, in Jharkhand, if a single MLA withdraw the support, the government will fall down. Okay, let's take an example of Jharkhand, or we can say in a very small northeastern state, a very small state of Goa. So we have seen that in Goa there is a lot of turbulence due to what defection and other stuff, due to which the state's administrator day-to-day administrator is halted. So due to which the governor, who act as the central government's watchdog, um, what gives a report to the central government that here the state machinery has broken down. President's rule is needed. So the central government needs a president's rule, but governor is also an human being, and its interpretation that how the state machinery, what how the state machinery is broken. So that's all. It's all about interpretation only.
Okay, I apologize for leaving. My laptop shut down because of some network issues. Thank you for answering my questions, everyone who did. Jagdish, should I sum it up? I think it's safe to say that all of us who are from India agree that our judiciary is partially independent, and that it's partially a myth and partially a reality. And I
I would
think
say
that's
it's a partial factor. Like
No, no,
we,
no. I disagree, but with the partial factor, it's totally independent.
No, no, no. Where there is power, there will be abuse. We can't
Yeah, I
deny the
know,
fact living in
no, but
India.
despite being the abuse, Supreme Court is still there giving judgments on very contemporary issue. As we
But
can
what?
say, wait. We can say in Savano case, how
Yes.
okay, the Supreme Court gave the judgment. It's independence, but the executive passed the law, which I forgot again. I'm sorry for that. In
It's okay.
1986, in 1986, then Rajiv Gandhi government had passed enacted a law which nullified the Shavano verdict. So you as you also are correct, but you are saying that to judiciary in India is partially independent, which is it's an abstract. Okay. Otherwise, NJAC have been valid and Esp- um, instead of collegium, NJAC would have been uh, what can say appointing the judges, which is more dangerous. That's all for me.
Like, I won't be able to solidify my cases with some instincts and all that instances, but I would like that we all can't agree on completeness. We can say that
Yeah,
it's becoming a myth. We can agree over it's becoming a myth, but we can't
I
like
don't know
totally say that
about
it's
it's becoming a myth or not. I don't know.
Okay, can I then say that we all agree that it's an ever evolving process?
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
So judiciary is an ever evolving process, at least in India, and so is the democracy.
I agree with that.
We are humans and we make mistakes and then we correct it. We learn from our past and then we bring new solutions. And I think judiciary is doing the same, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will sum it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think there was someone saying something about judiciary cannot be that's something about checks and balances, that judges make bad decisions, and that's why I think people other arms of government have to interfere or something. I can't really remember. But with when a judge makes a bad decision, when a judge gives a bad judgment, the next best thing to do is to appeal the case. You can't just say that because a judge has made a bad judgment, so another arm of government has to interfere. There is a process to it. When a bad judgment is made, you appeal the case to the court of appeal, and that's if it was in the high court, to the court of appeal, and if you're not satisfied with that decision, to the Supreme Court. So you can't make a statement saying that um judges make bad decisions and so another arm has to interfere. They don't have to interfere. There is no need for an interference. It's just there is a process to it. You appeal that decision and a good judgment is given. That's just how it is.
Like, if we see, I didn't say all the judges. I mentioned a few cases are there. See, if we take example of a daily life, even if in a classroom, you see when there is a monitor, they don't interfere in everything, but they keep a check. If there is not a monitor, people abuse. Like in the class only, children roam, shout. Even they like. I don't say that there should be absolute interference. I said there should be a little bit check so that the independence does not exceed to amount and abuse.
Okay, okay, I understand.
Yeah, I remember now. Falguni said that judges make bad judgments, which is quite evident because judges are also human beings. They are not robots. So, but since as we know that Supreme Supreme Court is a court of record. In the Keshavananda Bharti case, whatever I studied, I am still studying for a research paper. So the Keshavananda Bharti case has what? In Keshavananda Bharti case, the Supreme Court has disagreed its judgment in Golaknath versus State of Punjab case verdict. Agree with, if you agree with me, the that the Supreme Court sometimes has disagreed with its own judgment as well. It's which is the biggest example what I said in Keshavananda Bharti versus State of Kerala case. The Supreme Court disagreed what it had said in Golaknath versus State of Punjab case.
So that
So
may conclude you on the partial factor too. Like we can't oh this like everyone makes a
partial,
mistake.
I completely disagree with the thing that partially independent. It's totally independent. The
See like
executive
everyone
is
makes a
trying.
mistake.
Yeah,
And we should have a keep like people, it's not only the executive body, the legislature body, many people also keep a check. Like there were many amendments in cases, like cases laws that were made were amended because there was a mistake. I don't say that it is only abuse. There can be mistakes through natural factors, through interpretation factors, and people keep a check and balance by for implement by like not agreeing with them. I won't say that like in what you argued over that they corrected their mistake. That's a good thing, but that doesn't mean that doesn't involve it in our like debate. It would
what?
be over like they can correct them. It's good a thing. Like I won't disagree with you that judiciary is making its correcting its mistake, but I won't say involve it in the myth factor.
No, I am not involving it. I am just saying that if the court makes a decision which, in our opinion, it's bad, in in another case, it rectifies it and disagreed what disagrees what the court has said in previous cases. That's all. That's my simple point. What how you interpret it, how others interpret it, it's their point of view, and what I said, it's my point of view, and that's the beauty that what we can. For example, a poet writes a poem, but what our teachers have had interpreted and taught us, that's that's the thing. That's the thing which makes beautiful, in my opinion. That's all.
Yes.
Your disagreements, everything. So, see, so initially when I saw you guys speaking for the first 2 minutes, it was actually I thought, okay, this is not what I thought. Like I expected more from you guys. Like in 2 minutes, like you can frame it. I thought you guys would frame it very good because I saw many guys spoke only for many people. Like I think five of you just spoke for under 1 minute, and then only Aryan, yeah, only Aryan, Falguni, Emanuela, and I think only you guys spoke for 2 minutes or more than 2 minutes. Yeah, only you guys spoke for 2 minutes or more than 2 minutes. And yeah, you guys did put your points forward, but you guys could also just club it down and maybe could have spoken faster also, and also frame it properly. There's no framing like if you take ABC or yourself like CAB like that, but yeah, you can think of it like just take 30 seconds and then think of it and then frame it and then make it even better. Okay, and to come with what all you have spoken, I won't judge on what you have spoken, but the way you have spoken it and the way you have put forward, because every opinion is different, and I cannot judge your opinion. That is yours, and of course, if when it comes to one point, I'd like to tell is there is no bad judgment. There is just a different situation. There is no bad judgment. For any case, a judge when he gives a judgment, there is nothing bad about it. When you say a fact that no, there is judicial independence, and then tell that there is a bad judgment, it contradicts. So there is no bad judgment, just a different situation, right? And if you guys want to look into few cases where there has been failure of judiciary, or there is a like corruption in judiciary or bureaucracy in judiciary. I'll give you a few cases for you guys to read. Maybe that will change your view and make you think that there is the judicial independence in India is a myth. If you guys want to note it down, you can note it down. PV Narasimha Rao versus State 1998, the Jharkhand Mocha case hai, where actually PV Narasimha Rao government fell, 5 MPs shot, and there was a no confidence motion, and PV Narasimha Rao bribed 5 MPs. But when a complaint was filed, the judiciary actually told that giving a bribe is not a wrong for this thing. Giving bribe to take votes for the parliament is not wrong, because they didn't want to. This was an influence from the government side. It's clearly written in the case that it is an influence from the government side, that uh, the gave a judgment telling that giving a bribe, that PV Narasimha Rao is not at all wrong here, and then the MPs who have taken the bribe is wrong, right? And also there are allegations from yeah, on 22nd August 2020, Attorney General KK Venugopal gave a this thing press release. You can see that it's a wire dated 22nd August 2020, where he if you want me to read it, I can read it. It says, if you guys want me to read what he told, it's all quoted, so there's nothing of me. You guys want me to read what Attorney General KK Venugopalan told on 22nd August 2020, or would you guys go and research on it?
Yes.
Okay, want me to read? Okay. So 5 judges of the Supreme Court, there's all quote, 5 judges of the Supreme Court who have said that democracy has failed in the Supreme Court, which is what Prashant Bhushan said in his tweets. Secondly, I have 9 judges of Supreme Court saying that there is corruption in the higher judiciary. Two of them made statements while they chaired. This is not clear. 7 of them said no. So immediately after their retirement, I have extracts from all of them. I myself made a speech in 1987 in the Indian Law Institute. Right? This is what his speech was, where he tells that he has proof, he has everything to prove that there is corruption in the judiciary, not only in the lower courts but higher judiciary as well. By higher judiciary, I think he meant High Court and Supreme Courts. And also, there is one more press release by Justice Venkataramaya, who was the 19th Chief Justice of India, right? Which was held on June 19th. 19. His tenure was from 1989 to right. He told journalist Kuldeep Nair on the eve of his retirement, quotes, in every high court, there were at least 4 to 5 judges who were practically out every evening, wining and dining either at a lawyer's house or a foreign embassy, and that the estimate of the number of such judges was around 90, and that practically in all the 22 high courts in the country, close relations of the judges were thriving. This is quoted. It was wired at 22nd August 2020. Also, you can look at the Judge Patabi Rama Rao case of taking bribe. This was, I think, it was reported on 2012, if I'm not wrong. This was reported 2012. And you can also look at the strange case of Bhaskar Rao, who was a former Lokayukta, and this was about I think. This is about it was the complaint was filed in Karnataka to the Karnataka police only about bribe. I think, yeah, if I'm not wrong. It's a corruption. This is also a corruption case about a bribe. It was once you read the case, you'll know it was they completely changed bribed the judiciary, right? And also you can also look into, I think, quashing of corruption case against IAS officer for supply of defective foods to government schools. I think Anganwadi schools in Karnataka. So these are the cases maybe you can look into. There are a lot, but these are the cases maybe mainly you can look into. Maybe it might change your views or give you new perspective. Yeah. So I hope you guys noted that down. And for to announce it, like I don't want to announce who won, who did better and stuff. I'll do that later by speaking to one more lawyer, or because it's because I recorded this session for that reason only. I want to show it to others and get their views. But I'll tell you, if they select who's I'm sure we won't be telling that you are the best or this is the best. We'll be selecting top 5 students who did good here, and all top 5 of you will be getting a chance. So we always, like, every month or so we interview a lawyer to get to know their perspectives. Like I told in the starting episode, I always, like, take some time from people. I'm like, that guy goes, like, I want half an hour of your time. I'll just go sit there and then discuss with their about their profession or something, right? Like I like to interview them. So top 5 of you will get to maybe be with me for 5 minutes to 10 minutes and ask your doubts and clear your things. You can ask about whoever I interview is going to be a lawyer or a judge or some higher official, maybe an IAS officer, IPS officer, right? We have actually planned on starting a VOP podcast. For that, I will be interviewing a lot of people. So you guys, I will I'll mail you guys about that, and you guys actually can come sit with me for 10 minutes and then interview them along with me. Ask your perspectives, your doubts, and this is what I was told. This is a very good opportunity for you guys. So congratulations, whoever we announced. Right. So do you guys have anything to ask or doubts or anything?
Can you please send the that cases names only in the group?
Okay, done. I'll do that.
Thank
I'll
you.
do that. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for joining, guys, and it was very great. If you guys want any other sessions like this, or if you want to have a debate on something or anything you want to have, let us know. We'll try to arrange it and make it very good, because this gives you an opportunity, to improve yourself as well. And for most of you guys who aren't prepared, I think all of you guys, like, whoever told that I haven't prepared or I'm not prepared, I know you guys were nervous or anything, but what you have to look at is every one of you here. I sent the topic at the same time, that is today afternoon. I think 5:45. I sent the topic so that you guys will be prepared. And four of you here, I think, did not even know about the topic and just got to know about it when you enter this Google Meet. So whoever wasn't prepared or wanna, like, I won't call it your guys are reasoning or anything, but yes, please, just have to speak your mind. You don't need to be scared about anything. It's not about the right or wrong here. See, we're not judging if you're right or wrong. No one of here, I cannot tell Falguni is right or I cannot tell Aryan is right. It's just their perspective. They spoke their mind, whatever they knew. It's not like they knew. They took, like, this section, that section, this law, that law. Of course, they spoke what they know generally. They spoke of the cases, what they know generally, what they were working on. That is what they made them speak, right? So you guys can just generally speak. There's no right or wrong, right? So next time, please try to engage more and speak, ask. If you want more time, you can take more time. That's not a problem. So I hope next time I see more engagement from you guys. Yeah. So if you need anything, any resource or any help, you can just message us. We'll make sure we provide it to you, right? Thank you so much, guys, and it was very great, and all of you did amazing. And by tomorrow, I'll make sure that whoever did good, top 5, I'll announce, right? By tomorrow, we'll make sure that you guys get to know about it. Thank you so much, and it was very great session. You guys can leave the meet.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.